Well, the U.S. House could vote as soon as this weekend on foreign aid bills to help Ukraine, Israel, and the Indo-Pacific. Now, the national security assistance has been stuck in Congress for weeks, but comes at a crucial time for U.S. allies. Natalie Brandt has our story from Washington.
To order.
A long-awaited aid package to provide U.S. allies with critically needed funds has its first big test today before the House Rules Committee.
I have been saying for months, we need to support our friends and allies around the world now.
This bill is probably one of the most important votes we'll have in our careers.
The House plan includes 3 separate bills with more than $60 billion in security assistance for Ukraine and $26 billion for Israel. Another $8 billion is pegged for the Indo-Pacific with the goal of countering China. Speaking with foreign ministers at the G7 meeting, Secretary of State Antony Blinken and his Ukrainian counterpart laid out what's at stake.
If Putin is allowed to proceed with impunity, we know he won't stop at Ukraine.
House Speaker Mike Johnson, aiming for a final vote this weekend, must try to win over conservatives.
I'm doing here what I believe to be the right thing. I think providing lethal aid to Ukraine right now is critically important.
Speaker Johnson hopes by putting separate bills on the floor, it increases the chances of passage. If he loses members of his own party, he's going to need Democratic support.
We are not going to allow America's national security interests to be undermined.
President Biden has indicated support for the package. It could come at a cost for Speaker Johnson, with Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene threatening to trigger a vote to oust him as Speaker. Natalie Brandt, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Well, changing gears now, lawyers for the man accused of stabbing 4 University of Idaho students to death in 2022 plan to use cell phone location records as an alibi. Brian Kohberger's defense plans to have an expert witness testify that on the night of the murders, Kohberger's phone was not in the town where the killings happened. The 4 victims were killed at a home just off the university's main campus in Moscow, Idaho. In a court filing, Kohberger's attorney said that Kohberger was driving south of Pullman, Washington, and west of Moscow at the time. The 2 towns are about 10 miles apart. Kohberger has pleaded not guilty to 4 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of burglary. Well, an 18-year-old high school student has been arrested for threatening to commit a school shooting in Maryland. Now, this investigation began when FBI agents were made aware of a 129-page manifesto written by the student. In the documents, the student writes about committing a school shooting and also strategizes about how to do it. Now, he also contemplates targeting an elementary school and says that he wanted to be famous. Now, the student was arrested and charged with threats of mass violence. He is currently being held awaiting a bond hearing. Now, this announcement of this arrest comes 2 days before the nation marks 25 years since the Columbine High School shooting, which took place on April 20th, 1999. Coming up on your news at 4, could endless shrimp have been the downfall of Red Lobster? The latest financial decision that the chain has made coming up.